Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, today I want to talk about money and your relationship with money, and why your relationship with money might be the very thing that's really holding you back in a lot of different areas in your life, and some things that you could do to better your relationship with money. Now, once upon a time, right? Really story time. Once upon a time. So a friend of mine's, a buddy of mine's from years ago. I remember when we first met, and he was making a certain amount of money, and it wasn't a lot of money, but he would say, "Well, I'm broke. I've got to do this. I've got to pay rent. I've got to do all that sort of stuff." And which was true. It was not a lot of money, and so you needed that money to be able to pay bills and really just making enough to survive. Anyway, so he started making more money, and really living in the same place where he was living, so the rent hadn't really gone up. The expenses should have really been, they're about the same, the electricity bill, the phone bill, that sort of stuff. But he was still broke. Then he started making more than that and still was living in the same place and was still broke. And at that point, I was like, okay, you're making way more than you were making, a couple years ago, yet you're still broke and your expenses have not dramatically gone up. So, a lot of times people feel like, all I need to do is make more money, which I get it, right? I've been there. I've been just dirt, broke, poor. So I know what you're feeling like when you're only making 10 or 12 or, bucks an hour or whatever the case is, how much stress that brings in your life, which is why you need a good relationship with money because it can help you avoid a lot of stress. So, with him making more money, I'm thinking, well, how come you're still having these challenges and your immediate expenses, the necessities, they have not like dramatically increased? So you should have more money. And so, as I was saying, a lot of times people think, well, all I need is more money, and if I make more money, then I'm going to be okay. And in a lot of instances, you realize the more money some people make is they keep wanting more and more and more and more. Because what happens is a lot of times as we get more cash, we spend more cash on things that we really don't need. We keep going after all the wants, right? That's a lot of times that's exactly what happened. So what I did was this. I had him I asked him to collect all of his receipts for first it was going to be a month, and then we ended up doing it for probably about 6 weeks to 2 months, if I can remember correctly. Just everything you purchase, just keep the receipt, right? Just keep the receipt, and then we'll see where your money is going. We're going to see where your money is going. So we did that, and I realized that when we look back and tabulated stuff, and we realize, okay, so you're really eating out all of your money, right? All of your money is spent on my way to work. I'm gonna stop at, you name it, whatever fast food place, and I'm gonna pick up something to eat. While I'm at work, I'm gonna buy something at the food court, cafeteria, whatever it is that they have. On my way home, I might grab something. If I don't at that time, then eventually at some point later on in the afternoon or the night, you're gonna go back to the store and actually buy something. Again, probably some fast food place. And so easily in one day, you could easily spend, about 30 or 30 something dollars, right? And keep in mind doing that 5 times a week if you're working Monday to Friday or whatever your schedule is, and you're doing that every month, right? And on top of that, a lot of people, you know what they do, and I see it all the time. They're still buying groceries. So you're spending on average maybe about 20 something to 30 something dollars a day per day eating out. And this is not a stretch. A lot of people live like this, eating out. And then on top of that, they're buying groceries that they hardly use because a lot of the stuff is going to waste. The bread, the sandwich meat, the whatever you want to call it. I mean, a lot of stuff is not getting cooked. Frostbite, eventually got to throw it away, or whatever the case is. And they're eating out. So when you add up a lot of where the money was going, it was going to food. And to make matters worse, a lot of the food that people are eating on the grab and the go is not good food. So what happens is, one, you're wasting, a lot of times people are wasting their money to buy fast food. Two, it's fast food, so a lot of it is not necessarily the healthiest, especially depending on where you're getting it. A lot of people are not counting calories. And then on top of that, you're buying stuff that is obviously making you sick, if not right now, but in the long run, right? Because you're not eating healthy. And God forbid that hopefully you have a job that at least has health insurance, because then you're going to run into another problem later on, years down the road or whatever the case is, or in the immediate future, to where you're sick, but you're working paycheck to paycheck in an hourly job, that hourly paid job, that you are not getting any real benefits from, and so then you don't necessarily have insurance, but you're eating yourself into a situation where you might need insurance because you're not necessarily eating the healthiest. And then that could also affect your life in different types of ways, like for example your relationship. Well, how could eating bad hurt my relationship? Well, your sex life, right? So if you're constantly eating bad, a lot of processed cheese, a lot of all that type of stuff, then guess what? That's going to do to your arteries, right? For guys too, right? You need blood pumping in certain types of areas. So you eat all this type of food. That's one, remember, you're wasting money to buy it in the first place. Two, it's not good for you. Three, it's affecting you financially and otherwise. And then on top of that, it could also affect your relationship, because then you realize that you have some kind of erectile dysfunction or whatever the case is, because you have, and this stuff creeps up on you. You're okay today, and tomorrow, and it's almost like you wake up one day and you realize what happened. And to reverse that bad year, to reverse bad years of eating, it's not gonna happen when we just run into the gym for 2 months and we think that we're gonna undo 4 or 5 or whatever 7 years of consistently having bad habits, right? By just running to the gym for 2 or 3 months. And so that's why I said our relationship with money is really critical. Like, how do we use it? Are we using money in a way to benefit ourselves, to benefit our families, to benefit our health, our overall well being? Or are we using money in a way that it actually hurts us? And more money, why everybody always wants more money. I could use more money too. I have a lot of things I would love to do, and I could always justify too why I want more money. And I think for a lot of people, there is this obvious need that they could use the funds, right? But when you get it, what do you do with it? Because your relationship with money, as I said, it matters. And if you're not in the right headspace, if you don't if you're not the type of person who is able to get a flow of cash in your hand coming in, and to seriously just take some time and think about how you're going to spend it, and it's just going to go. Because you have to make money behave. You have to make money behave. And so if you are, money requires discipline, is kind of what I realize, because you must be disciplined. You can't be one of those people who just operate on wants, and everything you see you gotta have. You gotta have this $200 shoe, or you gotta have this bag because it's the trend and it's what everybody's wearing or what everybody has. Everybody. Who is everybody, right? And so what happens then is you realize you could be making more, but it doesn't really matter how much more you make, because all you do is you just get stuff that you want, not necessarily that you need, and then you realize you're still broke at the end of the month. So let's say you're making, I don't know, $20 an hour, you get some really cushy job, you're now making $30 an hour, but you're still broke and you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Well, you really need to look at the relationship that you have with money and ask yourself, why am I spending money so frivolously? Why am I just, why can I not hold on to money? Why can I not keep money? Right? Because then, as I said, stress and absence of money, it. We got to have money. And absence of money creates a ton of stress, because you've got to have money to pay bills. You got to have money to eat. You got to have money to do so many other types of things. If you've got kids or whatever the case is, or you just want to be able to, have a vacation or something like that, you got to have money. You got to have savings so that when you have a problem, when something happens, you don't have two problems, right? So something goes out, happens to your car or whatever the case is, and then instead of just having a problem with the car, you actually got two problems. You got a problem with the car and you got a money problem because you never saved a cent. So now you need to come up with money so you can fix the next problem. Bingo, right? Because you never saved. You have to save, right? You have to save. It's not just how much you're taking in, it's also how much you're able to put away. And then you'll hear some people say, well, I can't save. There's something I can do. Yes, some people might be in a situation where they have to work to get themselves to a stage to where they can start to save. I know it because I have been there, to where I'm so broke and poor that even when I was starting making decent money, savings was difficult, but you got to still make yourself put away. Even if it's $20, you're saving, right? And $20 every week or every month, it adds up. It might not look like a lot, but money is something that accumulates over a period of time, and you also build up good habits by doing it. So sometimes I've talked to people who say, well, I can't save anything. But when you really look at how they spend money, they could afford to save even if it's $50 or $100 a month. But it's just that they want to do all these things, and then they'll tell you, well, I work so hard, so I deserve to. But you also work hard so that you don't have to stress yourself out, right? Because you have a money problem. That's why you're working hard. So you can't be shooting yourself in the foot. Well, I work so hard, so I should enjoy it. But you also working hard so that when things happen, you're not stressing out because you have saved some of the money that you have been working hard for. So I just wanted to talk about that. So what you got to do is you gotta really find a way to become disciplined. And I think one of the good things you could do is to budget. You have to start budgeting. If you don't budget, then your money is just create a budget. And in that budget, you gotta create money. You gotta put aside money to actually have a good time, to do some of the things that you just want to do, not because you have to need them. Because again, you're working hard, right? So you gotta satisfy yourself. But in that, when you have a budget, you can find money, right? And then you gotta make sacrifices. There's no easy way about it. You can't always have what you want immediately. That's not how life is. You've got to be able to make the sacrifices now so that you can have the things that you want later on in life. You can't just always have it. So you've got to be able to make those sacrifices, right? So in the comments below, let me know, what is your relationship with money? What have you done what have you done in your life to develop a better relationship with money? This is a topic that I will revisit again, and there'll be several more parts to it. But just drop that in the comments. Share with all of us what you have done. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Please turn on your post notifications because I post pretty much every single day. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and share. Those two things help the channel grow, and I'll really appreciate your support in doing that. So, don't forget to leave your comments and let us know how you spend money, what's your relationship with money, and any tips that you will have for us. Until next time, be good. Peace.